I used to smoke too much, and you know I used to drink too much. If you ride in my car, and you can get me high, high, high. You know I used to smoke too much, and you know I used to drink too much. Take a ride in my car, and we're gonna get real. Oh.
Hi everyone, Dan here, and I just wanted to put a little snippet about AstroWorld and what we do because I want to start getting the word out because I think it's becoming more and more of a giant community, and I want to get the word out to some other people. So what we do at AstroWorld is we hold astrophotography chats on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we just talk astrophotography. Wednesday's more of a techie kind of advanced intermediate, and Fridays is more of a newbie kind of thing. So if you want to check us out, and if you want to, hang out with some semi-decent people that like to go off the rails a little bit and have fun while they're doing it, come check us out at astroworldweb.com, and you can check out the schedule, and you can sign up for all the free giveaways that we do. We just gave away an Eagle 4 Pro, an Optolong filter kit, Charles Brackenstein's books, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So come to astroworldweb.com, hang out with us, have a good time, and as always, remember to keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Things are becoming intense. I rip my jeans on your fence, hiding away from your man. Oh, it's a passion. Oh, tell it. How's it going, everybody? It's just the two of us. We can make it, you and I.
Just the two of us.
Oh, no, man.
More than that. No. Let's never do that again.
Let's not do that. We won't do that again. I won't quit my day job or my night job or whatever else I'm doing. So
messing up the lyrics and everything. I mean,
we can make it if we try, right? That's what it is.
Yeah. Don't try it again. Don't try that again.
I am not doing. It's my jam with Jimmy Fallon. I won't be doing that. So
sure.
All right, so Wednesday night we're here again, and welcome to the show. Welcome to all the newcomers, the old geezers that are out there that have been with us for the past 4 years. So thank you so much for hanging out. There's 24 watching and only 15 thumbs up, but let's go. Because Eric's gonna get on you in a minute. So well. Tonight, what we decided to do is we're going to talk a little bit about Nina, maybe go into a little in depth on the tabs or something. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I know Eric's got some stuff too.
I've got some things too with Nina and ASIR and PhD. So we're going to hit maybe a couple of things.
It's going to be a big mishmash of kind of everything. And it's only going to be about acquisition. So it's got nothing to do with processing. It's just acquiring the image and what you kind of got to do to get there.
That whole thing.
Yep. And we all have issues and we all got stuff going on, but it's going to be cool. But let's do the sponsors real quick. There we go. It's just me and Eric. There. All right. So we for those of you that are new to the show, welcome.
Beatrice, seriously, come on, girl.
What you do?
I don't know. The show has just started, so I don't know if I'm gonna like the show. Oh, you're gonna like the show.
Really, B? Really, B?
You're gonna like the show.
You're like one of like the stalkers of the show. We love you, but you know you're there all the time. You know you're gonna like it. You know we're just two wild and crazy guys. That's what we do. But we do have lovely stuff that we give away all the time, and we got to say thank you to the people that allow us to do that. And one of these days, I gotta mute myself in the headsets because I'm not drunk. I'm just talking weird because I got a little delay. But that being said, Woodland Hills Camera and Telescopes, the last Wednesday of the month, and I believe there's one more to go. Yeah, the 31st, we're going to be giving away a $50 gift certificate to Woodland Hills Camera and Telescopes. So if you don't know about any of these giveaways, go to astroweb.com and you can sign up to all the giveaways that we mentioned tonight. Right now we have 3 that we have: Camera Concepts, Woodland Hills, and Masters of Pixinsight. So definitely go take a look at that and sign up for it. So thank you to Woodland Hills, Primaluce, Camera Concepts, and Optolong. Thank you so much for Optolong for giving us all those lovely giveaways for NEAF. Primaluce has just been a fanboy of the show for a long time. Lots of support and love from them, and Camera Concepts as well. Masters of Pixinsight and IP for AP. Every Friday night, we give away a free Masters of Pixinsight class or workshop. So make sure you sign up for it. It's a really great tool for post-processing. They talk about mosaics, advanced beginning techniques. They take it soup to nuts. They'll walk you through even some photons. What is it? Photons to photos, the series. And they literally go through an entire walkthrough in 2 hours and what you could get. So definitely take a look at mastersofpixinsight.com. And IP for AP also is a great resource for not only Pixinsight, but for Photoshop. And really good, really great sponsors of the show. And that's why they're at the super giant level, because they just keep on giving stuff away. So thank you so much to them. We have a new Off the Rails member. I haven't been able to change it yet, and you're gonna have to excuse me. I know we have a new Off the Rails member, and I'll find out who it is in a second. We have one new one, and I forgot to put it up there. So sorry, I forgot who it was. But I'm such a bad guy. I'll definitely say who it is during the program tonight. Quasar members, all these are members, and if you want to support the channel, you want to support us, and you like what we do, please consider to go to our Patreon site at AstroWorld TV on Patreon, and you could help support us there from levels from I think $5 up to $50 a month. So you get some perks. So go check it out. Black Hole members, Red Giant. Lots of main sequence. White Dwarf members, I believe that's on Patreon, and Protostar members are only on YouTube. So be prepared for July. Helena Cochran from Helena's Astrophotography. That's the only guest that we have slated right now. There's a lot of stuff going on this summer. So, it's going to be tough to kind of get people in. But we'll get people in for everybody moving forward. And then please go check us out on our Discord server at AstroWorld's Q&A. A lot of great information there. 130 people there, hang out there and just talk about Astro. We're also on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and obviously YouTube. So that is it for that, I believe. And there we go. Smash the like button. You could smash the like button and go, Eric. Do your thing.
I'm telling you. Okay, there's 26 watching right now. At least on that I'm seeing. 27
I'm seeing 26.
and only 21 thumbs up. Do us a favor. You guys who have been with us for quite a while, you guys know, and we appreciate the support. We do always appreciate the continued support. But if you haven't, do me a favor. Smash that like button. If you're on Facebook, give us a thumbs up. If you're on YouTube, you know what I'm saying. It helps us out because we want to help you all out when we do these giveaways and everything else. And it just helps get AstroWorld TV, gets the name out there, continue to get the name out there. And we can only do it really without you guys' support. We can only make this possible because of you guys. So continue to show your support for us. And all really we ask of you is to just simply give us a thumbs up or click the like button. That's really it. Nothing else. We give, so we just ask you just do one little thing for us and smash that like button and help us out so we can get the word out, and you guys can also share the show, share it, share the link if you're on YouTube, share the link, share down to public I think it's on the left-hand side if you're on Facebook, and let people know that we are here. We are here to help everyone out, as well as we learn from you guys too. So this is a community. This is like I said, like a while back, this is our Astro Club. Let's make it grow. Let's make this is global. Let's make it happen. So help us out. We appreciate that. Blah, I'm getting tongue-tied here.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. Dave's already. I didn't even put my Nina screen up yet, and Dave's already making fun of me with my purple screen. So he's already. It's the peanut gallery has already started. Yes, you will definitely see the purple screen tonight. And I'll even show you how to change it too, if you want to change it to a different color.
Yeah, I'll show you my screen, and I have learned. You know what? I am learning more and more about Nina and the transition from ASI Air, or I'm not even gonna say it's a transition, but it's a transition because I'm not gonna go full bore. I'm still gonna keep the ASI Air and use that, but making this change, it's been eye-opening. It's been a learning experience, which is one of the things I love about our what we do here is we help each other, help educate one another and learn from each other, so yeah. I mean, I'll show you my stuff too, because there's some stuff about PhD too.
Oh yeah,
that has been driving me crazy, but I think I might have solved it just putting in, just bing, big brain.
But by the way, we got the narrowband channel in the house. Just so you know, we got them. We got him. I was able to meet the gentleman from the narrowband channel. If you haven't checked out his stuff on YouTube, definitely go check it out because he has some really great videos, and he's another incredible proponent for astrophotography, and he's got a cool hat too. So nice to meet you over there, Neve. That was pretty cool. And thanks for the interview. Appreciate it.
And I told Robin that I was making the switch from ASI Air to Nina. She was like, Nina? Who the hell is Nina? You got a Robin now. You better not, no, you ain't going to know Nina.
She's like, she sounds hideous.
She sounds disgusting. She sounds hideous. Well, she's a computer program, so
What are you wearing? Khakis. All right, let me see if I get Nina up here. We get the business here before we lose everybody. Here we go. So let's for those of you, I use an Eagle, and Eric, we can bounce back and forth on different screens and whatever and show. For those of you that are new to Nina, Nina is an acquisition software, which is free, that can control all of your peripherals for the most part, including your dome, if you have an ASCOM dome, and your weather station, and amongst other, not to mention focuser, camera, mount, rotator, all of that, flat panel. It'll allow you to control that in one suite, and it's free. So it's really, really nice. And yes, mine is purple. Yours does not have to be, but mine is. You know, everyone is special, but this one is mine, kind of thing. But it also allows you to do different types of profiles as well. So I have a whole bunch of profiles in here. So if you ever want to set up your own profiles, sometimes people, it's kind of like, if you don't play around with Nina, you're not going to be able to kind of see where it is. So you got to kind of play around with what it is. We'll look at that when we get into there. But I'm going to go into my regular scheduled Nina profile right here, and we're just going to load the profile, and hopefully it starts. There we go. All right, and let's see what's in the chat, because my chat is covered when I do this. So let me see. Yep, that's my eagle. Yeah, that's my eagle. Can you run Nina on a Pi? I believe it's just Windows, Mac. I think you got to run like K-stars on them. I don't think you could run it on Raspberry Pi. I'd have to look that up. I don't think you can. I'll look that up real quick. Nope, you cannot. The short answer is no. The long answer is the Pi is a fine platform. Just look at K-stars or EKOS or CCDCL or something like that. That has the Indie software, the Indie platform on there. So that would be a no, and I know that everyone's seeing that right now. That's okay.
The mirror effect.
And we'll bring this back. So Eric, you want to talk about the first screen we got here, the equipment tab, and I'll just walk through it kind of.
Yeah, so basically, absolutely. So basically, the first screen that we're showing right now is everything is, from what I understand, is tabular. All right, and I'm learning it's very tabular. When you have equipment, you have Sky Atlas and so on and so on. But first one we're going to talk about is your equipment. This is where you would select your camera, your filter wheel, your focuser, your rotator, your switch, which is basically a switch. It would think of that as, like, say, if you have a Pegasus pocket power box.
Yep.
You have that. You can connect your flat panel. Guider is PhD2, or you can do direct guiding, which is not, which is when you're doing maybe unguided guiding, but you want to dither. Or there's other options, I believe, like MetaGuide and a couple of others there. You have a flat panel choice, weather. I use, weather for me would be like my Pegasus Astro Uranus Mateo. So you have that. You can control your dome. You have safety features or safety information here that you can set up. So, you can set up certain scripts that, for safety monitoring, so you can avoid making certain mistakes or certain oops in the middle of the night. Oops. So yeah, this is where you would go to initially set a lot of this stuff up, is right here in the equipment area.
Sorry.
I personally, while Dan has has an Eagle, I use a Melee. I have a Melee Quieter 3 mini PC is what I use.
I have one as well.
Yeah. So you can, like I said, and runs Windows 11. So yeah, look at that.
I got this one. This is coming out of the plastic this weekend. So
yeah. Dennis, what did I do to get my focuser figured out? A lot of trial and error and patience, and lots of patience. Really, really looking at the stars and making those changes, and making those really subtle changes. And I'm very happy to say that I have figured it out. That is one piece, at least right now. It's locked in and seems to be pretty well locked in. But yeah, that's that. And then I even learned how sensitive the focuser is compared to ASI Air as far as the autofocus process, how sensitive it really is when it comes towards, partial, or a few, or like haze or certain types of, clouds and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
It is
it's huge.
quite sensitive, and had to learn quite a bit about understanding. Oh, that's not really backlash. That's just go outside, Eric. It's a little cloudy where you're pointing. That's why it's not working. So yeah.
Okay, so that's the first part of everything. Then you got the Sky Atlas. What was that?
No, one question was from Narrowband, the Narrowband channel. Does it have a built-in plate solver? Not quote unquote built in. You have to download and install, such as ASTAP or Plate Solve 2. I believe there's a couple other ones that you have.
There is, but most people use ASTAP or Plate Solve from PlaneWave. ASTAP seems to work very, very well with Nina. It's very fast, and you could download it, and it's also got the offline. You could get ANSVR or ASTAP, depending on how many of the catalogs you download. You could actually Plate Solve offline, which is nice. But yeah, so you'll have to download it and install the actual program to Plate Solve. But it will definitely Plate Solve, no problem, through ASTAP. And let's see. So I just want to switch this really quick. I think my head's cut off, and we got two empty boxes we don't need there. I want to switch that real quick. And Jesse and Peter. And
I personally use ASTAP, and it'll tell you. I like how Nina it tells you, such as like you say your downsampling may be too low or too high and things like that. So it'll guide you and help you, let you know if it's having a bit of trouble here or there. So I do like that. I do have Plate Solve. I believe I have Plate Solve 2.
Yeah, I have 2. I haven't done 3 yet because ASTAP has been. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Exactly.
ASTAP seems to work really, really well. It's really fast, and I've never had an issue with it. So it works great. You could use Dave. You could use astrometry.net. You could also use ANSVR as well. So there are a couple of offline plate solvers that you could use, but either one is fine.
That's what I use for my blind solver.
Yep. Yeah, your offline solver. Yeah.
Yeah, is astrometry.net. So, but you do have to get an API key or something. I don't mean to cut you off there.
You do. Yes. All right. So Sky Atlas. So this is kind of like your, I guess it's like your telescopius in a box, kind of. So this gives you almost the same exact specs of what you're looking for, and it'll give you ideas on what to image. So if you just want to do by object type, and you could choose, I don't know, galaxy clusters maybe, or planetary nebulas, or you could do them all. You just leave it open and it'll do them all. And if you search, this is what's going to happen. It's going to give you some things that you can look. Now, these are really, you could definitely, some of these are not things that you would want to image with like a 4-inch refractor, a 3-inch refractor. These are some things that are quite small, like the Abel galaxies and these Perseus star cluster might be okay. But then you could change by size. So I could go by size from, let's say, 30 arc seconds to 5 degrees. That's a big switch. So let's say 1 degree to 5 degree. And then we'll search a little bit. So this will give you the bigger things here.
And real quick, for those who may not know, and even from my own knowledge, because sometimes I draw a blank on stuff, how will you figure out, how to select what's the proper size for your equipment. Like, how would you understand what your field of view would be with your equipment, so you would know what object sizes to choose from?
Oh, I have an answer for that. Here you go. So let's take a look, and we'll do apparent magnitude too. Let's do we don't want 21st magnitude stuff. So let's say, from I don't know why it says 1 to 6, but let's see. And it didn't give me anything. That's probably the things that too big. But we want things that are above the horizon too. So we want to talk about that from what time to what time. So you want things that are, but if you saw it when we were right, it was showing us, and we'll go over this in a second, these little graphs. Let's make this like that. If you take a look at these graphs here, this is my custom horizon here. You can see this is my north with all the power lines, and then it drops to the south and all of that. So I actually made my own horizon here, and you could do that with the help of Nina or Theodolite, which is an app that I use to make. It's like a surveyor's app where you could actually have it save data points in a circle and at an altitude, where you could import that into here, so you could have it ready to go. So like this object here, Abel 1367. Well, this is pretty high in the sky right now. It's about 60 degrees. But to Eric's point, well, what's it going to look like? You could go right here, set for framing assistant. Okay. So we're going to go in there, and it's going to put it into the framing assistant, which is actually the next icon here, if you just wanted to go there on its own. And it's going to pull a picture of what it looks like in a second. Sometimes there we go. Okay. So, and if you zoom in a little bit, okay, so there's all Abel 66. It's very dense grouping of galaxies here. And if you let's see if I could take off the annotation a little bit. Where is the annotation?
Is that in the top right?
I thought, let's see. Display grid, annotate. There we go. Okay, so this is what the cluster is going to look like, and this is my actual frame of the chip of my camera. It has my width in here, it has my micron, my pixel size, and my focal length. So it makes a square, and you could actually move this around. And if you want to take a look at this, let's say this is where it started, right? But well, I got this bright star over here. Well, maybe I don't want that sitting in the corner of the picture, right? It's going to be a little distracting. So maybe I want to go, make it, or crop it later, or go lower, or go like one of these and crop it later. But if you take a look up here at the right ascension and declination, as the box moves, the right ascension and declination move. So once you set this to your telescope and your sequence, which we'll talk about in a little bit, it will use the degrees, the right ascension and declination that are up here with this name.
Yep. But again, if you go back to the Sky Atlas and you're putting in, say, your apparent size from 1 degree to 5 degree, how will you know, okay, is there a way you can figure out from Nina on what you're able to see, how many degrees, or is it based off of, the apparent size, the biggest that you can perhaps fit, it may be in a 4-inch refractor? What would that equate to as far as degrees or anything like, something like
well, that changes from chip size to aperture size. So it's going to be really kind of tough to do that. You would have to know your degrees for your scope and camera setup. So you can do that literally from Telescopius.
Mm-hmm.
and it'll tell you right on the bottom what your, what your what your degrees vertically and horizontally, and what it is, what your field of view is. I don't think there's a way to kind of do it through here. It's basically very simple on just this, just picking what you want. I mean, if we go 1 degree to 10 degrees, let's say, and let's get rid of some of the stuff though, because it's just giving us these random things here. So let's do object type, and we're gonna get rid of the galaxy cluster. We're gonna all the planetary nebulas. This so small. So let's do bright nebula, asterism, dark nebula, and globular cluster. Let's do that. Things that are a little bit bigger. There we go. All right. So what do we got here? We got we got Barnard's loop here, which is, this is now, so it is not in my field of view. So let's, again, get rid of any and just go to what I can see above my horizon and search that. So only 2 things are above the horizon right now. And actually not yet. This is going to get above the horizon for me at 1 a.m. That looks like the Pelican. Yeah, Pelican Nebula. And the North American Nebula, same thing. They're right next to each other. So again, if you want to change this from 2210 to, let's see, if you want to start off, you can change the time. So nautical, let's do astronomical dusk to 1 in the morning, let's say. And it's going to be nothing because all I got is these things. So let's do everything.
Have you ever tried to use Nina as a pointing solution for visual astronomy? Oh, I'm not taking you off topic here. Now that you think about it, no, not really, but it wouldn't be a bad thing to use, especially, it just depends. If you maybe utilize your guide camera and a guide scope and have that set up with Nina, but making sure that it is in line with and in sync with your telescope's field of view, like everything is 1 for 1 as far as in alignment.
They got to be in parallel with each other. If they're off just by a little bit,
it may not. It won't
work. In all fairness, I mean, how much off are you really going to be? Because the field of view of a guide scope and the field of view of a telescope, it should be in your field. I think it would be kind of cool to do. But I don't know. I guess it'd be worth it. I don't know what would be easier. I think maybe doing like a stellarium thing or something like that might be a little bit easier. Than you could definitely do it. I just think if you're doing visual, there are some easier options, I think.
Yes. Now you could definitely, and we can talk about that, like you mentioned with stellarium. If you set up stellarium with Nina and you incorporate the 2 together and have your framing wizard and you're utilizing that to get the data from your planetarium software into Nina, and then have it do a slew. And then you can still utilize your frame of perhaps you maybe set something up where you can enter in maybe your field of view of your eyepiece or something instead of a camera, perhaps as a substitute. I don't know, because I don't use visual, but maybe that way you can at least get an idea of the size. But stellarium also, you're going to use stellarium with the oculars and everything and put in there, your eyepiece information, your fields of view. So when you're doing your slewing, you can still use stellarium to see what to show you what you should be expecting to see in that field of view, but have Nina maybe perhaps do a little bit, of assistance as well. But again, you need it, or something like visual, because stellarium does a very good job, and it does have telescope control. So you could simply do stellarium and have it slew and do the go-tos for you. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll even look at Stellarium and how it kind of goes into one another, kind of how they
Mhm.
interact with each other as well, because Stellarium's got a really cool little map. And you can put your own backyard on there, and you can kind of do some things to it.
I've been trying to get that because I have, just like you, the background horizon,
Yep.
but for some reason, I don't know if something's changed with Stellarium as far as it's not using polygonal anymore.
Okay.
And I can't, and I can't, when I enter in certain information, it's showing up like it's not working for me. I can show
Okay.
it to you at some time, maybe offline, and maybe you can tell me it's like, oh yeah, you're doing this, and say, way to go, dummy.
No, I would never do that. At least not on TV. I wouldn't.
Not on TV.
But and listen, sometimes a second set of eyes is what you need.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But yeah, so that's the sky to
Holy
me.
cow!
What?
Sean is here.
Sean, what's up, buddy?
My man. I haven't
I know.
seen or heard from him in a while.
Yeah,
Good
right.
to see you.
Hey, Sean. Well, I'm gonna see Sean in July. Is it July? No,
Mhm.
August. August. I'll see Sean at Starfest in Canada. We're gonna be there, so gonna be all over 2 countries. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, awesome. Tom Peter, will Nina control 2 cameras and scopes on my side by side? Good
Yes,
question.
yes,
Oh,
you
you
can. Now,
awesome.
what you'll have to do is you're able to run double instances of Nina. So basically, um, one setup, one profile, one instance, not one profile, one instance would be set up as your main camera. It'll be doing your guiding, your focusing. Well, you're focusing for your main camera, your guiding, your slewing, and all that. Your second instance of Nina will just be controlling the focuser and the camera of the second telescope. So you're able to kind of do that with Nina and run 2 instances of Nina and still separately control 2 different imaging rigs. So yeah, you could absolutely do that.
Right
I've
on.
done
Good
I've
to
done
know.
that before. That's MIA. You don't know what MIA is? It's not Mia. August Starfest. Yes. All right. So let's. Oh wow. All right. Let me get rid of that. And all right. So to be honest with you, I don't use the Sky Atlas a lot. I do pretty much what Eric was talking about, and I like playing with Stellarium with Nina. So I got Stellarium up here, and if you want to take a look at it real quick, and
And
it's
I'll be right back. I see 30 seconds. I'll be right back.
yep.
You go right ahead.
And it's a little dark, so we can make it so you can see the horizon. And don't make fun of my pictures because it's not the best horizon, but there you go. So there's my backyard, and it's not moving very well because there you go. There's my telephone lines, more telephone lines, and all that. But anyway, what you could do is we'll get to nighttime again. More telephone lines, more telephone lines. It's moving a little slow for some reason. Come on, you can do it. And I think it might have just crashed. Oh, there we go. I don't know why it's moving so slow. Probably because I'm doing 15 things at once. So I apologize about this. So, oh, wow, that's fun. I love when that happens on live TV. There you go. Okay, so we're at 10 o'clock at night. So now let's say I want to do Vega, which is right there. I'm just going to click on Vega. And now it's selected in Stellarium. So we can minimize Stellarium and go into Nina, right? And we'll go right into the framing wizard. And then you see this little button right here? Once you have it set up right, it will grab any coordinates that are selected in your planetarium software. You could use it through Cartes du Ciel, Stellarium, the sky. You could do a couple other ones. So once I click this, it automatically hits Vega, which is selected in Stellarium, and it starts to pull the picture. In a couple of seconds, you'll have the pictures of Vega here, and you'll have the correct framing for that object. And as you can see, it takes up quite a bit of my sensor because it is pretty large. There you go. And it says coordinates acquired for Stellarium, and you can do it just like that.
Yeah, this is, I like this, the feature of being able to capture, the information and coordinates from the planetarium software and bring that right into Nina. I think that's really, really helpful.
Yep, and you can literally like do whatever you want. You can pick what you want. You want to do Arcturus, okay, whatever is selected. So even if you want something outside, you can kind of play around with it. And then just pull it right into Nina.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good also for if you wanted to do planetary a little bit, you could select a planet and pull it in because Nina doesn't like planets.
Okay.
Wow, is the chat? Are we on? Because I haven't seen it in chat.
Yeah, I haven't. No. People are just talking amongst themselves and stuff like that, and But yeah, nothing. No questions yet. We've had a couple, but nothing quite yet. So we can just keep going here.
Why don't you do some talking now? Because I've done a lot.
Okay.
Imaging. All right, you're getting work done.
Yeah. So I do like, image source. You have multiple image sources that you can choose from, and that you can pull into here and loading up your image, setting up targets. I love, being able to set this up and then being able to directly slew plates off center and then be able to drop it that target right into your sequence. Either you're doing the simple sequence or the advanced sequencer. I really enjoy that. I'm learning in the advanced sequencer. It's not as intimidating as originally I thought it would be. It is quite simple, actually, once you get the initial ideas. And I would recommend strongly another resource, not just us, but maybe even Chad for Patriot Astro. His videos were a huge help to me personally for learning how to do the sequencing and moving into advanced sequencer, creating a horizon file for and that introduced me to Theodolite, which was the surveying software you mentioned, things like that. So I would definitely check his videos out. He's a wealth of information when it comes to Nina. So I would strongly recommend checking him out. What do you got there?
That's a survey. That's the survey.
Yeah,
that's
there it is.
Theodolite.
Yep.
It's taking a survey of my big nose. That's what it's doing.
Yeah. So it's that. So this whole thing, I love how this is set up. It's very, very helpful.
Yep.
And then the next tab, I believe, is the Flat Wizard.
Yep. Flat Wizard.
I haven't used this personally yet. The next things that I'm going to need to learn to use and stuff like that. So maybe you might be able to talk a little bit more about this than I can.
I actually just did it the other day because I cleaned my sensor. So of course, once you clean your sensor or clean your optics, you need to take new flats. So I needed to take new flats. So you could do the target name is the first thing, and you could change the name if you want. You could put a date in it. So you could put May 24 and put a year in there, 2023. And you could do that to have, to title your flats. So how many flats do you want to take? Put the number in there. And do you want to take dark flats? Do all that. There is an option to slew to zenith once you have a telescope connected, which I don't. You could choose east or west and slew to zenith. Which side do you want the telescope on? You could also do it by a couple different ways. You could take 3 different types of flats. You could take dynamic exposure, dynamic brightness, or sky flats. Okay, so dynamic exposure, the flat wizard will change the exposure to fit the ADU that you want. Okay, and we'll get to that in a second. Dynamic brightness, if you have an ASCOM controlled flat panel, you could change the brightness based on what ADU do you want, and you have sky flats as well, which is one thing. And Sean, if you want to pop something in there, because I know you do a lot of sky flats. I don't. I just use my flat panel, but that's what that is. So choose. This is single mode. There's 2 different modes. There's single mode and multi mode. Now, single mode is basically for, I guess, I hate to say this, but the one-shot color people, where you're doing either one-shot color, you're using one filter at a time, all that kind of stuff. So, so you could sit there and use, your current filter. Like I'm an RGB, I'm a mono camera, so I have a bunch of different filters here. Okay, so single mode, which filter are you binning? Do you want it binned? And then your flat minimum exposure and maximum exposure. So this is the amount of time that you want to spend taking flats for that filter. I have this one set at 2 to 4 seconds. Since I'm doing dynamic exposure, there's no brightness of the panel yet. Histogram mean target. What do you want to get? What's your final? Where do you want that histogram to be when your flats are good? I have this set at 50% plus or minus 10%. Now, I don't use the single mode a lot. I use the multi-mode because I usually do all my filters in one night. So it has, I don't know when filter 6 changed. It's HA, O3, and S2 for me. So when you go to luminance, and let's see if I could, you know what I'll do? I'll connect my flat panel real quick. Is it even on? Let's see. And it is on. I can connect the flat panel. And so in order to connect to one of your equipment, just go to flat panel, choose your flat panel. I have the Primaluce Lab G Auto, and then connect. And it might or might not, depending on if I have it connected or not. And of course, on live TV, it's not connecting. Oh, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Oh, you know what? I know what that is. Hold on.
Power?
Yeah.
You don't have it. It will need power.
The power. So this is what happens when you just do things live and you don't turn on the power ports. There you go. And now, there we go.
There we go.
Okay. So now that's connected, and right now it's set to number 60 as far as intensity is concerned. It goes up to 100 in the G Auto. I can go up to 100. I could set that. And now it's set to 100. So here is your last trained. Like I already did this. So I did all my filters, and it tells me what was successful. So my luminance, 1 second, one brightness, 1.42 seconds. My red was 10 brightness at 3, 13 at 3, 15 at 4, and so on and so forth. So it'll save those numbers for the last time that you did it. So that's a good thing. So now if you go back into the flat wizard, now it has flat panel brightness right here because you got a flat panel connected. So now
There you
you
go.
could, what was that?
No, I said there you go.
Oh, there you go. So for luminance, you got to make sure for each filter that you want, you need to turn on. If you don't want to do that one, just turn them off. And, you know, I have this set to 50 plus or minus 5. And I think they're all like that, if I remember right. 50 plus or minus 10 on the narrow bands. And it's all different brightness. And basically, you just hit play. I don't have a camera connected. But if I wanted to connect the camera, I don't have it connected. I got to plug it in. It's not on. But I could connect the camera and the play button will light up. And that's a flat wizard. And then you just let it run. So maybe like 30 or 40 minutes or less. You'll be done with all your flats, all filters. And then it'll take dark flats. One thing I have had an issue with the dark flats, and I don't know if it was me. It happened to me 2 nights ago when I was doing my flats, that it would take one set of dark flats. So I would set that for like 50, let's say. And then it would go through all the lights, right? It'll go to the first dark flat because the dark flats are the same exposure time as your flats, right? So it should be doing dark flats for every filter, right?
Yep.
But it only did luminance and gave me an error. And it just stopped. So I don't know if it was me, maybe I just didn't have it set up right. But that happened to me last night. But that is the flat wizard. It makes things pretty easy once you get it set up.
Yeah. Now, Conrad was here speaking. My biggest challenge with Nina is focusing. If we could raise virtual hands on biggest challenge being focusing with Nina, I would be right there with you. It was my biggest challenge. I think I have conquered it, but if I could share, just my experience on how I figured out how to deal with it. Now, Conrad, if you want to share like what focuser and maybe telescope you're using in the chat here, that could be a little helpful. But I'm using an Edge HD8, so a Schmidt-Cassegrain, and the ZWO EAF. And with the EAF and focusers like that, such as like the Pegasus Focus Cube, and the focusers are similar to this type. One thing you cannot do compared to, like, say, a Moonlight focuser or the Asato is you can't lock the mirrors, which can cause issues like such as mirror flop. And that imbalance. Whereas with the Moonlight and with the Asato and focusers such as that, you can lock it, and then your focusing is done directly from the camera side, from the focus tube of the camera and stuff like that. But anyway, one thing that I started to do, and this is one of the things also made by, if you go to Patriot Astro by Chad, he mentioned, as well as I believe even Queeve, the Lazy Geek, even mentioned this. First out with starting out with a number, maybe a small number, depending on your camera, on your scope, maybe say 30. And then you would do slow increments, like maybe 5 or 10, and see if the star that you're focused on, or the stars, begin to move or maybe grow or shrink in one, whatever direction you're pointing it to, and they begin to move. And if they begin to move, then that starts giving you an idea of your step size. I wouldn't even mess with backlash or backlash compensation or anything like that, but I would say set it to overshoot instead of absolute before you even turn off, because you have to, and turn off your focuser when you do that. You have to turn off your focuser, set it to overshoot, you can turn it back on. But leave it at zero. Leave those at zero and just wait and just work on knowing where you're seeing that. I would say maybe about 25, maybe to 40% maybe of a difference of the size. Maybe it gives you a good idea of that initial step size or that initial growth that you can start building a step size, right? And for me, mine is my step size for my Schmidt turned out to be 175 for my step size. And no, sorry, yeah, 180. And once I locked that in and I started getting that curve, and I'll show you what my curve looks like, because it doesn't look like a normal curve, but it's a legit curve.
Right.
Then you can then start working with, understanding and figuring out your backlash piece, the piece of your backlash.
Yeah, if I could just interject, one of the things that Chad did a really good job of doing, and he uses it in conjunction with Hocus Focus, but you could use it in conjunction with Nina's focus routine as well. Basically, eyeball the focus, right? Eyeball the focus to get as close a focus as you can figure out what it is. So if you're in the 2s or the high 1s or even the 3s, whatever you're in focus HFD is, start there. And then what you do, if it's, let's just say round number 2, if it's a 2, your first focus sample in your autofocus should be 4 to 5 times your in focus HFD. So if your HFD is 2 in focus, then you should be somewhere between 8 and 10 for your first sample in your focus curve.
Right. Yeah,
now, what you do at that point is take that 2 and find out what your step number is. Take the 10, get that step number. So let's say step number for 2 is 1,000 and step number and HFD 10 is 2,000. That leaves you 1,000 difference, right? Between 2 and 10. Does that make sense so far?
Yep, I'm following.
Okay, so you got 1,000 steps in between those two HFD samples. Now divide that by how many steps you want to take in your focus routine. Most people do 4, some people do 3. Depends on some people do 5. So whatever is you, start with 4, see if that works. So if it's 1,000 difference divided by 4 steps, your step size would be 250, because 1,000 divided by 4 is 250. And that's it. That's how simple it is. It's easy math.
That's good to know. I didn't know. I didn't realize that. So
actually, we spoke about that when the first night we were messing with your focuser, and we got close. I think we were at 190 at one point.
Yeah, and actually I settled on, and I've settled on 180. So
yeah, so it was pretty darn close. So I mean, it's just a matter of sometimes with those, and maybe it's just me being a mispress or whatever, just being spoiled. Box focusers to me, they have too many points of possible failure to me. The grub screws, the collars, the slippage possibility, it just, I just want something a little bit more solid to me. And a little bit more accurate and focused, like a sub-micron focuser. That I'm really, I'm really into those kind of things, even though I don't, because you know what, the skies in New York stink so bad. If I'm out of focus by a little, I want to make sure that, because my seeing is so bad, I just want to make sure that focus is tight as possible. And the only way to do that is to get those 0.04, 0.05 micron focus focusers, like the Asato, the Optex, and all that.
Right. Now, one thing that I will piggyback off of what you're mentioning as far as knowing, okay, what, you know, having your HFDs for your star sizes is one thing is you can do is turn on the annotate for your image. So that way, and it measures the HFD. So as you grow and you move further and further out of focus, you can take quick images and see how far away you are from that goal of maybe 10 HFD. And then once you get to that point, then you can say, okay, stop. And to your point, now let me write down this focus number, what this step number here for my focus. Because with this, you want to take down notes. So you would want to write down your step, you know, your steps from when you're in focus. You have that perfect in focus, like using a focus mask, batten off mask, or what have you, and then go to that 10 step size or whatever. You know, if you're going to do your initial step size is going to be 4 or 5 or whatever you want to make it, and then from there you continue on and doing what, like Dan is suggesting, the calculations of dividing between the two, dividing by that step number, and then you have your step size.
There's also tweaking and stuff. Each focuser is different. Everything, you know, everything is different. You know, my EAF is 70. Somebody else uses 75. You know, so I mean, you know, it all depends on your setup. So just make sure that you do your due diligence, and definitely figure out, know your system, know your image train, and once you get it down, it's a no-brainer. You just let it go.
Just let it go and leave it alone.
Just
and
let
then
it go.
Like my backlash compensation, I thought it was going to be this huge number, because everyone that I was listening to was telling me, you know, Schmidt Cassegrain, and we're using this EAF, you're going to have this huge backlash number. My backlash number, 40.
Yep. Sounds about right. Yep.
So it was really surprising that it was so low that and it was just, I actually started just going a little bit by reading the graph as far as between the steps, and then I started around in just that rough area and just boom.
Yep.
And ended up hitting it, you know.
You know, the reason why I say that 10 limit, because usually in most scopes, anything over 10 in HFD, you start getting the flat line because things are so out of focus, it can't get a reading. So you'll get the first 3 readings and it'll be 0. Then all of a sudden it'll jump up to 10, you know, and then come back down and around. So 4 to 5 times your in focus HFD is kind of where you want to be. If you're at 5 and you got that flat line, go to 4. That's all.
Yeah.
But that I can't take credit for that. I got to give credit to Patriot Astro and Chad because that's I'm not the brain behind that. That's all Patriot Astro. So I got to learning from him and giving to you. And there you go.
Yeah, passing it on. So the sequencer tab, you can spend a lot of time just in the sequencer. I don't know if we have enough time to go through the sequencer. Maybe we have to do that at another.
We could do. We could skip on to the imaging tab, maybe.
Yeah.
Nah, that might be a lot too.
Yeah, these are a lot. So maybe we I don't know, you have your options such as, you know, your profile settings, because if you have multiple pieces of equipment,
and look,
you can
green now. It's green.
Profiles. You can change the colors in this thing. Set up your Atlas, you know, your Sky Atlas image folder. So many other, if you're setting up, you know, astrometry, you know, you would do that here, as well as a few other things. As far as for your other piece of equipment, your autofocus is where you would go under options to set up your autofocus. And, you know, if you want to go to that, you can, and that'll show you your autofocus, and that's where you can work from your autofocus and get those calculations in there, and that's set up, controlling your dome, all that stuff. it would be in here. Plate solving, you would go under, under the options is where you set up your plate solving, software, the ones you want to choose to use, ASTAP, astrometry.net, plate solve 2, 3, what have you.
Yep, All Sky Plate Solver is good too. I've used that.
Yeah.
But this is the API key that you'll need, so you'll have to get that with your own account.
Yes, you have to create your own account with Astrometry, and you can get that.
This is all your settings for that. And like the thing that this is one of the things we can kind of go over real quick. This is actually kind of cool.
Yeah,
you could change the FITS headers of your images to really be any sort of function that you want. Now, for those of you that are new to Nina, you may not know this, and I didn't learn this until after playing around with it for a while. But you could make individual folders in Nina and have the file path all set up for you by doing a couple things. So 2 things to remember: the backslash creates a folder. The underscore is part of the file name. So for an example, I got the first thing here, target name, and then a backslash. That means that creates a folder that says whatever the target name is, M31, let's say. This one says M33. And then it goes into the date and creates another folder. The camera creates another folder. And then here is where it starts the file name. All these underscores here is all the file name. So I got target name again, telescope, camera, image type, filter, exposure time. And you can add stuff too. So like sometimes it looks kind of funny. So I put in exposure time, I put sec for seconds, right? Because if you don't put that in there, it just says EXP 1021. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. So I'm a little dumb. So I just did seconds. So now it says 10.21 sec, not secs, sec. And date and time, gain, offset, and then the sensor temperature. And you could add any one of these just by clicking and dragging. You want focus or position? Okay. Click, drag, and there it is. Just make sure you put an underscore before the dollar signs like that, and that will add it to the focus or position. I don't want that, so I'm going to delete it. See, it'll just be like this. It says focus position, but it's only adding 12542. I don't want to have to go back and look at things. So you got to do focus or position like that maybe. But just be careful. You could get into a lot of funny stuff with the long file names and Windows.
Yeah.
So you can get into some funny stuff. So put the information that you want in there. Don't go overboard with the file name, and then you'll be fine. But you could add anything you want in here. That's actually kind of cool. I like that. Anything in the chat?
Not. Yeah, and I was looking here. Let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, Norm, Smack, give us a like.
Hello, Newman.
I get pissed. No.
Bye, Kevin. Thanks for hanging out. Hey,
yeah, agreed.
Everybody, go vote for the picture of the month. Go vote.
Yes.
Go vote for picture of the month. Support us on Patreon and go buy your Astro gear at AstroWorldTelescopes.com. Go check it out.
So
all right.
you got here, and then you've got a couple of things here, and there we go here. And sorry, just a sec here. And I'm just because I want to share something here really quick. If
I'm like, what are you doing, man?
Sorry. And it's just crazy. All right, let me see here. Dollars. Shift. Dollars. Okay. So one thing that I was tinkering around with, and not really tinkering around with, but one of the things that's been frustrating me with Nina that I was having trouble with was auto guiding. And for me, coming from an ASI Air, and this is this is really, if anybody is using an ASI Air right now and you are transitioning, maybe you think about transitioning to Nina because maybe you want to get some different non-ZWO equipment and you want to, incorporate that into your imaging rig. One thing you're going to have to do is, when you're stepping out of, ASI Air, is dealing with Nina, and of course, you're dealing with PhD2 for auto guiding. So for me, I had for some reason with ASI Air, I had no trouble with auto guiding. I mean, I set certain parameters within and locked it and gone, and it was smooth. I mean, I'm getting sub-arc second numbers, nice round stars, everything. However, with Nina and using PhD2, I have been getting have been having certain types of tracking errors, my stars would be elongated. But if I would switch from on the same night, if I would switch from the Nina and plug right into the ASI Air and do the same target and go and do auto guiding, no problem. So that told me that it's not necessarily a problem with the mount. All right. Yep. It's something with my PhD2 configuration.
Yes.
That, so I'm sure, other people might be saying, duh, Eric, why did you think of this? For me, it was a light bulb moment. And I was like, wait a minute. The ASI Air has PhD2. It's basically it's PhD2. And it has log files. So why not take a look at the log files out of the ASI Air and compare them to PhD2 and Nina and see where things are off.
Okay.
And that's basically what I did. Now, if I can show you here, I'll share my screen here. If you don't know, if you use the ASI Air, but you don't know how to get to certain things, I'll show you here really quickly. Go to share my entire screen here. And let me minimize this. Minimize that. And I'm going to minimize this. All right. So if you either have if you have the ASI Air and you're using a flash drive, you can put your flash drive into your computer. But in my case, I am using my Ethernet network. And so I can actually access my ASI Air through my network. So here it is. I just went to /ASI Air, enter, and I found the USB drive, which is UDisk images. That's your USB drive. If you are using the card, the SD card, the small SD card, it would be under TF images. But here's my USB and ASI Air. And here under your ASI Air is where your information is, such as for your auto runs, any live videos. But here's the log. And you have your plans, previews, or videos. This is usually under plans is where you would have lights and you would have your targets. Anyway, so we'll go here to log. And you have, usually I believe there's two different types of logs. You have your auto run log. And if you scroll down, you have here your PhD2 guide logs. So what I did was I pulled I pulled my last PhD2 guide log, and you can also get you can download for free the PhD2 viewer, right? And the log viewer. And that's exactly what I did. I downloaded this guy and I dropped this into here. So if I close all this out and let me go to open and my desktop and my ASI Air log, the first thing was my calibrations. And as you can see, my calibrations, everything looks pretty good. It looks good. Everything's in line. So in here, you can also go and you can take a look at your guiding and how your guiding is. You're settling, you're dithering, how your RMS numbers were. You want to look at your total RMS. And like I said right here, 0.83. So I'm under an arc second, which is very good. For me, usually I can get, depending on my seeing conditions, I can get down towards 0.5, maybe 0.6. I've had excellent seeing conditions. I've even gotten down to 0.4, 0.3. But for this, this was yesterday. The seeing wasn't so great, but I was still under an arc minute, right? So this is, for me, would be very good. This is some very good information here. But here, if I highlight this information right here, this is information if you decide you wanted to, if you're having trouble with your PhD2 guiding in Nina, this is something that I'm going to try. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm thinking this could help me out where I can look and I'm using, and with PhD2 in the ASI Air, they're using the algorithms that it uses is the hysteresis algorithm for your RA, and for your declination, it uses resist switch.
Right.
Right.
And those are the defaults for PhD.
And those are the defaults.
Yeah.
Right. So and so what I did was some of the things you can't do certain things like set the hysteresis in ASI Air, but you can set the aggression. But you cannot set min move. But again, the only thing you can do within the ASI Air is set the aggression. But looking at this, it's telling me that the hysteresis is 0.10 and the min move is 0.10. And if I'm looking here at the resist switch for my declination, it's right here. My min move here, 0.1. Fast switch is enabled. And my aggression is on, which is one thing that I did set, is 20%. I'm not using any backlash compensation, anything like that. But I also have here below here my pulse durations, which are 2,000 milliseconds. So I have that set here. So, if I compared that to my other PhD2 log, which was from Nina, I believe this one right here, you can see how bad I was struggling.
Yeah.
With this. My hysteresis here was still 1, but my min move was at point. Right, highlight this here. Was at 0.293. Aggression at 0.9. So I was doing different things to try to figure this out. And same night, but you can see my total RMS was over 2 arc minutes.
Yeah,
which is bad. So Big Brain told me, hey, Eric, why don't you take this information and drop this into PhD2? And that's exactly what I ended up doing here. Here's my melee and going into the Big Brain here and going into algorithms.
And then changing that to match.
To match. Exactly. doing so I will not know because it's cloudy right now. I'll test this out tomorrow because we're expecting a clear night tomorrow. But matching this information, and I don't know why this thing is doing, I got to stop it. Oh, I'll stop in a second. But matching the star, like the search region information was in the log. If I go back to the log here, it was showing me lots of different information, such as if I scroll down here, let me scroll down to the bottom and a little up. Come on, more. Where are you? These are all the mount. It's doing. It's work. But sorry, if I go here, there is a spot here. Here we go. So I can go here, and I was looking at my deck, star positions, like your pixel scale, making sure that's correct, focal length correct. The search region was at 50 pixels, the star mass tolerance at 50%. So I went back to PhD2, did the same exact thing, right? Set my calibration steps the same, everything, focal length, everything the same. So we're gonna find out come
the next clear night.
Clear night, how I do and how things may or may have not improved. So wanted to share that for anyone who is transitioning or wanting to use Nina, and you're an ASI Air user, and things work great for you in ASI Air, but you're having some trouble in Nina, initially, give that a shot and share that, so I want to share that little bit of information there.
That's super cool information to kind of go back, because I've been using Nina the whole time. I've been using PhD2 for years, in the full-blown version. Laptops, whatever. And I guess it's something that you take for granted when you sit there and you kind of know what to kind of, as long as you got a good polar alignment, well, that takes care of your deck pretty much, unless you have like a really bad performing mount where things are just going screwy. But then you really only got to worry about the right ascension. So and that's where you gotta kind of tweak it. So if I raise my aggression, I lower my motion, or if I lower my aggression, I raise my motion. Or you could sit there and say, hey, run your guiding assistant, let that run for 10 minutes or so, and see what PhD2 comes up with, and use that as a starter point of where you want to be, and then take a look at it. And don't be, some people are too quick to make changes on PhD2. They're too quick. They're like, oh man, it's going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going, let me change this, let me change that, let me change. You're not giving it time to make the corrections. You got to give it time. You make a change, you wait, you clear your chart, and you let it run and see what it's at. Then if that's still getting better or worse, if it's getting better, keep doing the same thing. If it's getting worse, go the other way. But you got to sit there and let the program have the time to make the change and make it kind of, make it a real. People are just sitting there like, I know people are out there like this. Oh, I'm going to hit this. I'm going to hit this. Okay, hold on. Let me take a quick snapshot. I'm at 0.17.
I'm guilty. I'm guilty of it. There's times you get with my ADHD and stuff. Sometimes I get so frustrated. You get quick to get frustrated because we want instant gratification. We just want things to work the way they're supposed to work, like everybody else is showing off. And you look at, maybe if you watch or see Chuck's Astrophotography, everyone, back in the day, I don't know if he does it now, but back in the day when he was doing his longer videos, he would show you his guiding, and his guiding was sick.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like that, so you get, it would just go nuts. You would just get so ticked off.
The guiding assistant's really good. I mean, but you got it. But by the same token, though, you have to let it run 2 to 3 full warm cycles. You got to sit there. You can't sit there and just, well, I'm going to let it run for 1.5 minutes. This is long enough. No, you got to know your worm cycle because it's different on every mount. So you can find that on the manufacturer's website. You can find that out there and say, okay, you know what? If it's a 5-minute worm cycle, I need to run 10 to 15 minutes. So it needs to have time to look and see the pattern. It needs to see the pattern. Let it go. Some mounts out there are only 3-minute worm cycles, and maybe you only need to run 10 minutes. You know what I mean? So my EQ8Rs I think it's a 5 minute, so I let it run 15. So so it all depends on your own mount, but just give it time. Guiding is not a sprint. It's a marathon. And you want to sit there and you want to give it time, but the time invested into your settings into PhD will pay tenfold if you give it the attention it needs in the beginning, and you'll be good.
Yeah. So absolutely. I mean, to your point, you run the guide assistant, because if you're using, say, SharpCap, or if you're using Pen Pro and you're using some sort of which uses drift, polar alignment, and you're pretty confident in those numbers, you have a pole master, what have you, and you know that you have good polar alignment, your deck, for the most part, is going to stay pretty low. Your deck numbers should stay pretty low.
It should.
I've heard if you have not so great performing mounts, you want to be quite a bit off on your polar alignment to help, some people say, to help try to compensate, because of that. That mount's performance, you may want to have a slightly bad polar alignment, maybe few arc minutes off.
Yeah, not bad, but like just nudged a little bit off. Just
not, you're a little off, but not bad.
You can't be pointing due west,
Exactly. But you guys get what I mean. But you want, so that way that can help you with your deck, especially because the big thing with your deck is backlash. That's one of the big things you're dealing with deck, and pull, and it's backlash, because all the deck is doing is, it's just usually one spot, and then it's your RA that's doing all the rest.
Usually
the work. So you really, till then, you just focus on RA.
Then you got to look at those other things too, like balancing east heavy a little bit, and, stuff like that, depending on what you have, whether it's belt harmonic, which is strain wave, or worm gears. There are different ways to kind of balance things out a little bit. So if I have a regular worm gear, like let's say an AVX or something like that, I would sit there and I would balance, not heavy on the east, but a little bit east heavy, so it kind of drags a little bit and really kind of engages those worm gears so that there's less slop.
Sometimes pain in the butt.
I'm not a fan. You need to put that behind the bar. I mean,
you know what? Honestly, I only use it right now for when I'm bringing my mount in and I need to do some work, and I'm making my flats.
There you go.
That's pretty much it. But yeah, if you what was my thought? But like you're saying, if you have the ASI Air and you are thinking about transitioning to Nina because you are moving away from the ecosystem of ZWO for whatever reason, you are having those troubles, sometimes utilizing that extra tool out of the ASI Air that you already have, and knowing where that, those log files are, and, that could help you when you are moving and making that transition to Nina. Now, what happens to east weight heavy after meridian flip. Yeah, you go west. It goes west heavy.
It goes west
That's
heavy.
how it,
Yes.
you know, so it just depends. And sometimes, you know, like with my 760, I don't have to go super east heavy. I mean, it just has to be a little off, just a little, you know, just to make sure that the gears, the worm gears engaged, you know, just right. I don't have to go super. It just depends on that mount. I mean, with this one, that AVX, yeah, I've got to I've got to go east heavy on that sucker, you know, and this sucker can get stiff. Even after I had it, I even had the sucker hypertuned. After a while, now the sucker's stiff again. So it's my goodness.
Yep. Well, you know, the grease that they use on the AVX is not the best, and you know, to find out if you got a good mount or a better mount, always try and do a swing test with it before you buy it. And do yourself a favor, hold the mount down, because I saw somebody do this and almost take out his entire mount. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to kind of hold the legs down a little bit, and you're going to put the weights up on one side and open up the lock and drop the weights. If it swings like a pendulum, you got some good grease. If it just stays there, well, then it's very stiff, and it's going to be working a lot harder to make those changes. See how Eric's doing? See how that's good.
If I disconnect it, you see from here.
Oh no, if you had the counterweight on it, it'd be like a pendulum, kind of.
Yeah. So yeah, but see, here's a crazy thing. If I put this weight on here,
well, don't do it, man. The whole mount's gonna go flying.
I know. Here, you know, if I put this on here, sometimes we see. Yeah. It's just too heavy anyway right now. This is
let it go. Let it go.
So
just a little bit. Just okay. See how it's moving back 3 or 4 times? That's not this is also after hypertuning. So
yeah.
So this is not your normal run-of-the-mill AVX. A normal run-of-the-mill AVX would probably go back twice.
And then it would stick.
It would stick. It would just stay.
Exactly.
But you know, you could also take the grease off, re-grease it up, do all that kind of stuff. You know, I wouldn't suggest it unless you know what you're doing. But you know, but you could also have I don't know if Deep Space Products
they sell them. He doesn't do it.
He doesn't do them.
Anymore.
He sells the kits, right?
But he sells the kits though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that one was hypertuned by Deep Space Products maybe about 4 years ago. You know?
Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad.
I had my Atlas done by him about 2 years ago, and it's been working great. Yep.
Yeah. Now now Nina, I tell you, it is a slight learning curve, but just like anything else. But once you get it going, you'll really enjoy it. I mean, it's a really, really cool piece of software, and for it to be free makes it just insane not to at least try it, which is one of the reasons why I decided to try it and get the Melee and everything. It's because, hey, it's free. And if I do decide that I want to move on to something else, you know, move out of the ZWO ecosystem for whatever reason, why not try it, you know? And it's been so far, now that I'm taking the time to learn it and, you know, give it, you know, the time it needs so I can, you know, figure things out. It's been pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to take a look real quick, just what you know, before we go and, you know, make a spin of the wheel and do all that. But this is what the advanced sequencer real quick snapshot looks like. This is what I do in my sequence. So this is something from I believe this is the whale and the hockey stick that I've been working on. They have a couple things here, so let's close some of this up and we'll just make it look a little bit easier. So So this is what it kind of looks like. So here's global triggers. And what global triggers are, these things will automatically trigger no matter where you are in your sequence when the need arises. So if the temperature changes by 5 degrees, it'll autofocus. If I filter change, it'll autofocus. And meridian flip, it'll do it when it needs to. Okay, so you don't have to keep on putting that in there. It will always check after every picture to see if any of those need to get done. Then you got the startup steps. This is like the pre-imaging stuff. I wait till the sun is, about 5 degrees above the horizon, and then it starts to cool the camera. And then it waits till the sun is at 0. Then it takes my focuser and make sure it's at the right spot, or at least around the right spot for me. And then it cools the camera some more, unparks the scope and waits for nautical dark. And the thing that's great, you can put wait for time in there, and you can just sit there and choose what you want to wait into, or you could just actually put the time in here. You just put time and put the time in, whatever you want to start. But right now I have it set to nautical dusk. So once nautical dusk comes around, then it goes to the next part. There's my target. That's the whale and the hockey stick. This is what I have so far in the luminance red, green, and blue. It actually holds the amount of time that you've taken in there with the exposures. And then there's triggers. These are not global triggers. These are triggers just for this image. So it's going to loop this entire thing while the altitude is above my custom horizon.
Okay.
It's going to keep on going. So now it's nautical dark. It's now going to run an autofocus first. And then it's going to slew and center. It's going to plate solve. It's going to start the guiding, and it's going to force a calibration. You can turn that off or on if you want. Okay. And then you got more triggers and loop conditions if you want, but I don't have anything there because a lot of this stuff is up here already. And then it starts my routine. So I got autofocus after every 12 exposures. And why did I choose 12? Because it's just a random number that I picked. It really is nothing, to me. Usually what I do is I do it halfway in between what image like I have. So let's say if I have 20, 20, and 20. So it's going to focus after every filter change, right? But if I want to focus in between, depending on how many images, so I might do autofocus after every 30. So it's 20, and then after, and then every 10. So it'll be like every 10. You could do that. And then you got your time, what type of frame, binning, the camera gain and offset, what filter, and how many images you're dithering. And the last thing is the end of sequence. So when it's done, it goes under the horizon, it stops the guiding, warms the camera, racks in the focuser, and parks the scope. Then you're done. That's it. And you hit play, and there's a lot more stuff. Like I'm going to be adding my Giotto on, so it's going to take flats every night. So I'll have flats and flats done every night. You could add a whole bunch. You could go over a whole bunch of stuff. You could add this is a plugin, and I'm not going to pronounce it right. The Orbuculum, I guess it is, where you could do more than one target. There's also a Lucky Imaging plugin, which is actually pretty cool. And slew and said there's a whole bunch of stuff. We can go over that on another night. That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm even learning right now. I was trying to. You don't have it here, and I don't think we have time to. But I was even doing multiple targets.
Yeah.
You can, and maybe here I'll just share this really quick and share my screen so everybody can see. So share, and we go back here. So I'm still tweaking mine and learning on certain things. So if I scroll up here, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I had it turned off. So if I start this back up, yeah, so and start this guy back up. And man, if there's something here that somebody notices, let me know. But here, yeah, here's my startup, for example. Like I'm starting out with my luminance filter, making sure that's all set, cooling the camera, and then dropping in
why
my
do you have
target.
my startup set twice?
That's one thing that I'm figuring that I maybe, and I don't need it.
Yeah, you know,
because
I don't think you'll need that.
Yeah. So I'll have that. So I have my startup time here, like I said, nautical dusk, my targets. This is one thing I'll probably move into the global.
Yeah, I would.
And I did have an instance, where you center after drift. Sometimes if you have clouds, or if clouds maybe roll in every once in a while, and there's something, and then they clear up, you can, after a certain number of exposures, you can take a quick plate solve, and in case you are a little off because of those clouds, and then you can set the minimum arc minutes or max arc minutes. And then so mine set, so after 5 exposures, do a quick polar, a quick plate solve and see if I'm off, anything like that. And then my slew and centering, autofocus. Now for me right now, I am using the offset filter calculator.
Yep.
So I only run the one autofocus. And I started guiding, and only it checks to autofocus after if there's any type of increase in the HFR sizes of my stars, and then it'll resume back to guiding. And then I have it here set to loop, so it'll loop until a certain period of time, just like Dan was mentioning, and then I would have my smart exposures for my dithering and my filters and what have you. And I have mine set up with I have different ones like LRGB. I may not need this, but then I also have one here for HA LRGB. So different imaging sets for, whatever filters I'm using. If I have another one for SHO for my narrowband, strict narrowband stuff that I'm learning to use. So there's different things here that are really, really cool to use. And then, of course, and here's my end sequence, which is just stop the guiding and go home. But that's it. But yeah, there's definitely some things I'm still learning for sure. But I do like how it's set, how you can do this. So if you're saying I don't need this, then I can kill that.
Well, yeah, I still kind of tweak my advanced sequencer as I'm just going through it every once in a while. I don't need that.
Yeah, because one thing is that I don't. Where is it? Okay, yeah, just loop until say, and this is when I look at say I was doing M104 to Sombrero Galaxy,
right?
And then you can look, and I get a rough idea of when, based off of my horizon file here, when that target is going away, and it looks like it's going to be going away around 1:30.
Yep.
So that way I will go ahead and I will go into loop until time until 1:30. And then I will
there's a loop until below horizon in there that you can do. So it'll automatically do it for you. So if you go no. It's a different name. So you got to go into the right panel and go under instructions and go under loop. Or you could type loop. You could type loop. Okay, and then loop until there you go, altitude above horizon.
Is it above horizon?
No, below. I'm sorry. Yeah, loop until altitude below. There it is.
Yep. Okay.
So you could drag that, and you don't have to worry about time anymore.
Nice. That's good to know.
And then one last thing I'll leave you with, because you brought it up, is adding a second target.
Yeah.
And if let's see. If we do this
So
real
if I go
quick. So if you
kill that one. Oh, then you just set your altitude. That's kind of cool. So you set loop until below the particular altitude.
no, that's the wrong one. I'm sorry. Loop while altitude above horizon. That's it. The third one from the bottom.
Above horizon?
Yep. So that means once it's below the horizon, it'll stop.
Gotcha.
It's just worded weird. That was the right one.
Yeah. Okay. So here, if this is my, looking at this, and this is my artificial horizon, once it gets to this point, you're saying that's when it'll stop.
Yep.
Then good. That's good to know. See, you learn something new every day.
And you could actually take that and put it. Let's see, where do you have that right now? You have where do you have that now?
Right now, it's just under my imaging session.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Loop conditions.
Yeah, you can leave it there.
Yeah. So that's good info to know. And then the other one I would have set for loop until nautical dawn. That second target.
Yep.
To have that go until nautical dawn, and then boom, you're done.
Yep.
So
cool.
That's good. No, but that's cool. That's cool stuff. Thanks.
No problem. Glad I could help.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. So let's let's do a giveaway, I guess.
Let's give away some stuff.
We'll give away. What are we giving away tonight? What are we giving away tonight? A message of Pixinsight, I believe. Let's see. Did everybody vote? Did everybody vote for the picture of the week? Did everybody vote?
Did you vote? Did you vote? Did you vote?
I did vote.
I thought it wasn't until Friday.
No, you got to vote. It's open for voting now.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Friday it ends.
You got until Friday though. But don't forget,
vote now. People don't vote till people are procrastinators. People procrastinate now.
You can't vote early, but you can't vote often.
Nope.
You can vote only once.
One time only.
But you can't vote early.
one ping only for silly.
That's it.
Let's see. What am I doing? Mars Camp giveaway.
So I can't wait till I can go through everything with Nina, and then finally say I have a completed project, and then I can take it into AstroPixel processor and then Pixinsight and actually do all the other fun stuff.
Yep.
154 entries.
Yeah, 154. And here we go. Free masters of Pixinsight. Here we go. Nope. That's an error on me. There you go. George Billisix. George.
All right, George.
Billisix.
Congratulations,
MOP.
sir.
Awesome, George. Well, I'll send you an email, and Pete will tell you how to kind of refresh.
Hey, there's Wayne. Hey, guys. Wayne Parker's on from Scott Shadow Observatory.
When are you coming back, man? When are you coming back?
Been working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and ramp up the Pod S. Oh yeah.
That guy, for those of you who don't know who Wayne Parker is, Wayne Parker is the owner of Sky Shed. And let me tell you something. This guy is one of the hardest workers, man, I've ever seen. He is out of control, man. He's 24/7, 365. I mean, he's out of control. So and he's got a great product. So if you haven't checked out the Sky Pod S, check it out. It's pretty darn cool.
Whole walls now. You can
whole walls. My brother could stand in it now.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Hey man, it's gonna be awesome. Oh, you know what? I didn't show these off.
Oh yeah, you do rings.
Yeah,
it's a great.
I got these from Parallax Instruments. Joe over there, Parallax. I asked him, I said, "Can you do me a favor? Can you make me some rings that are 120 millimeters that will fit the plus, my big paddy wagon of a
Yes, your paddle.
my paddle." And he said, "Yeah, sure." He got it to me in 10 days. So thank you to him. Yeah, really nice job, solid rings, pretty cool. And
Pretty slick, especially for that AP. That is just a crazy dovetail, and now you've got the rings to go with it to put that AP on.
yeah, now I'm literally like, just gonna throw this. This is really for the Giotto. That's what this is for. So I could go all the way to the front and not have to take it off. I'm thinking of a couple of different things for um just for transport, really. Because this is a stupid long. I mean, it's long. This is huge. But I could probably fly with this, but I'm trying to think about maybe doing like a clamp where it's like a quick release just for the top part, and then throw it on there later on. I'm thinking about that. So it's my shillelagh. It's my shillelagh.
Lele. One other thing, we were talking about, you got that, for your Giotto, and one reason why I'm looking at the Asato is, like I mentioned, is for the one. It does micro, focusing. I mean, it can really get down there, to the microns focusing, and another reason is to lock the mirrors of the Edge HD, because I think I read somewhere, I don't know if it was from YouTube, from a post of one of my videos that I did for Astro with Eric, on collimating the Schmidt with the Tribatanoff mask. Is one of the things I have to do with often, especially if I'm taking it off the mount and putting it back on the mount, if I'm moving that around, I have to collimate, every time, because of the mirror shift, right? So one thing I believe I read, and maybe someone made a comment, is they're asking me, do I have to collimate often? And I do. I have to collimate every time I put the scope back on the mount. After that, I collimate. And as long as it stays on the mount, I'm fine.
Yeah, you're not rattling anything around. So I mean,
you're not moving anything around, right? So, but once I do, I will. And so I'm hoping once I'm able to lock the mirrors, then I'm hoping that my collimation will be able to stay quite a bit longer, because the mirrors aren't moving anymore. They're locked in, and I won't have that shift. Yep. So I would, so I can, so I won't have to collimate as much as I am right now.
Yep.
So.
Hey, cool. Now where are we at?
No, good show, guys. Yep. Eric, if you left click on your target with your horizon in the advanced sequence window, it shows the actual time and altitude in the degrees, and you can actually accurately input the info.
Yeah, you'll see it flip back and forth on the right side. You'll see the numbers flip.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Oh, thank you. That's good to know. Thanks, Simon. Appreciate that.
Very, very cool. Very good.
You learn something new every day.
Every day. For every mistake, we must surely be learning.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, cool. All right. I think we're done. We gave away our prize, and we went from 40 people watching to 13. So
yeah, yes, I think we're done. We're done.
All right. Final thought, Eric?
No, again, thanks everybody for joining. Hope you got something valuable out of this. I remember when I met with, I believe Frank at NEAC, he complimented us on, how low key and how fun it is. But every once in a while, there's this little pearl of information that you can get out of it, and I really appreciate that. So hopefully, Frank, when you watch this, hopefully you'll be able to get something out of this one as well. So appreciate it.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun doing this stuff, especially when it's like a lot of conversation in the chat and questions in the chat. So thank you for everybody for being being part of the family, and just helping us out, put out something decent tonight. So
yeah, for sure.
And don't forget to vote for Picture of the Week. Don't forget to enter for Picture. We had 6 people. You both deserve the like. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beatrice. We love you too. Yeah. So Friday night. Pete may have a special for us Friday night. He may be live from California at Plane Wave. So that's a possible. We're trying to work it out. It may or may not work. Depends on the internet. You know how that is. But all right, everybody. Well, great job, Eric. Great job, everybody. And everybody have a good couple of days, and we'll see you Friday night. Got to play poker. How come I'm not playing? No one invited me. No problem, Norm. You could guest host whatever you want. Trust me, we're all tired. Thanks, Simon. Appreciate it. Tom, Beatrice, Carol, everybody out there. Thank you so much. And there's always room. There's always room. So, all right, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see everybody Friday, and we'll have one more. Maybe Jesse will be around, and we'll see everybody Friday. And until then, keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you Friday night. Have a good night, everybody.
Clear skies, everybody. Have a great rest of the week.
Good night, Newman.